It happened again, everyone. 1 month ago, the greatest living novelist died, and it seems to be happening a lot lately. First with Cormac McCarthy, and now with Tom Robbins. And what separates Robbins from everyone else, what makes him the best, is that he showed me, and he will show you if you read him, that the whole tragedy, artiste manqué, persona, and programming that has been shoved down our throat all throughout time does not need to be our future. It doesn't need to be our reality, because if we are going to create a literary renaissance, we cannot keep using the same formulas from before. We, at some level, are going to have to liberate ourselves and evolve into higher planes of thinking, and at times, in specific scenarios, move beyond tragedy. Because when I look at many of the best novels behind me, they are downstream of Sophocles and Shakespeare. And in time immemorial, there was a very harsh separation between the comedy and the tragedy, even though both did shed serious light on problems in society and on certain individuals and our plight as humans. But as we escaped the Victorian era and moved into modernism and postmodernism, we were given potent tools like absurdism and existentialism, which started to move the two polarities together. Because when I look at a novel like Infinite Jest or Gravity's Rainbow, they are both transformative, tragic, and hilarious. Slothrop and Helen Condensa are the magician and the fool all at once. But as I'm sure you guys know, the problem with Infinite Jest and Gravity's Rainbow is that they aren't very easy books to read, that you cannot give your grandma or your girlfriend or some random person you know Infinite Jest or Gravity's Rainbow and expect them to finish it or be interested. And you would honestly kind of be a dick if you did that. And so there are always going to be the avant-garde individuals in fiction who are pushing the limits of this combination of comedy and tragedy. But that work is going to be inaccessible. And so, first and foremost, a literary renaissance requires a lot of people to get on board. We are going to have to at least touch a part of the masses. And I would love if we solved all of our educational issues and everyone had a self-education awakening and could absorb Infinite Jest and Gravity's Rainbow and every other novel that is super literary. But that's not going to happen. And so what I have found after a decade of recommending people books, and I've done it thousands of times, I've done it a ton on this channel, that Tom Robbins books are one of the best bang for your buck, books that you can give to someone, especially Robbins' novel, Still Life with Woodpecker. I have a link to this book down below. Everybody, go buy this book and read it. And if you're on the fence, I want you to listen to the description. Still Life with Woodpecker is a sort of love story that takes place inside a pack of Camel cigarettes. It reveals the purpose of the moon, explains the difference between criminals and outlaws, examines the conflict between social activism and romantic individualism, and paints a portrait of contemporary society that includes powerful Arabs, exiled royalty, and pregnant cheerleaders. It also deals with the problem of redheads. And that is a huge problem. But guys, that sounds fun. That sounds entertaining. It also is very philosophical. It also makes you think. If you have a girlfriend or a wife that has rejected most things that you have given her, give her this book and she will like it. I give my word on that. And so what makes Tom Robbins really cool is that people think I'm some sort of snob and snoot because I talk about like the super hardcore authors. But Tom Robbins doesn't have that complicated of writing. And I've studied Robbins a bunch, and I know that he's spent thousands of hours revising every single one of his novels. He really put in the work. But on an initial read, you may not notice that. And what's funny about Tom Robbins is that I tell you guys all the time that we are isolating ourselves too much as authors, that a community and coming together and being a part of something is so important, because many of the great authors behind me had people with them, were a part of something. Cormac McCarthy, David Foster Wallace, and countless others had friends, mentors, and colleagues pushing them. And if you look at Robbins' life, this is crazy, you guys, the list of people that he was associated with. He was very good friends with Terence McKenna. He did acid with Tim Leary. He knew Joseph Campbell, Robert Bly, and the list goes on and on. And so that really inspired me to get online, to start talking to people, to start interviewing people, to really start collaborating with other people, because we have this idea that we can do it alone. And Robbins is one of a kind because many people are not willing to do this, not willing to go through these lengths of changing who they personally are. And many of the authors behind me had to change who they are at their core continuously for their entire life to achieve the artistic heights that they wanted to. And I say to you guys on this channel all the time, it's much harder to have no readers. It's much harder to be an introvert and not collaborate with anybody than it is to make the changes and put in the work that sometimes may be hard or stressful to become that. And the same is true for innovation in structure and storytelling and really becoming unique. Because if I told you right now that you need to write something of the caliber of Blood Meridian or Pale Fire or whatever, you most likely aren't going to be able to do it. 30 years from now, with all the practice you're going to do, you may not be able to do it. Because those guys, Don DeLillo, so many others, Margaret Atwood, Toni Morrison, they are generational talents. Tom Robbins wasn't a generational talent, and that's not an insult to him. He continued to put the work in. Every single one of us could reach the level of Tom Robbins, and it wouldn't be just good for society and the literary renaissance. It would be really good for you because, as I was discussing earlier, many of us have this idea that we need to be this artiste manqué, that we need to isolate ourselves from women and become uber optimized Andrew Huberman type individuals and reject everything, and modern culture sucks. But that actually goes against our Western roots. When you look at magic and spirituality and the occult, I said it, people are going to get triggered. Eastern philosophy mostly is about the creation, learning how to create and make energy flow in the body. And this is why things like their practices of asana, pranayama, meditation, samadhi, these types of things are so strong, and they develop them so much. That's what that is trying to do. But when you look at the West, we had almost no cultivation of energy and no understanding on how to create and manage energy. But we had an exquisite understanding on how to use and manage that energy. And that's why we built civilizations and kingdoms, and the occult and Christian mysticism and these things were always behind that. Freemasonry, whatever secret society it was back then. And so in 2025, we have the opportunity to create a union of both. But I see many authors, many artists removing things from their life and not actually leaning into what we've been programmed to do as artists in the West, which is to experience life fully, to go all the way. And it isn't a coincidence that many of the people behind me sometimes experience life way too much, went way too far with it. They weren't these isolated individuals. I would say that almost every single author behind me, if they didn't have a family and were living the life of a family man or a family woman, were consumed in womanizing, addictions, like all different types of things that were a part of them going deeper into the experience of consciousness. And so Robbins, to me, is the perfect union of both of these. He literally talks about and understands reincarnation and the spiritual aspects of the East, but also isn't kind of a meandering individual, because there's been a problem with art actually in the East. And I've talked about this before, that because of the focus on energy and on renunciation, great works of art haven't been as prevalent, especially in the long form in the East. There are obviously epics like the Ramayana and the Upanishads, and I can go on. But tit for tat, blow for blow, pound for pound, the West, in terms of classics and output, has outperformed the East by an insane degree. Even if I think certain sectors like the Chinese wilderness poets and Japanese haiku artists and others were, functioning at a much higher level than their contemporaries in the West. And so, not to get all businessy, but I see a trend, and it's 100% logical, that being able to write a book that is transformative, that's based on philosophical experiences that aren't I have people tell me all the time, like I'll get an email and they're like, I spent 13,000 hours writing a Kantian remix of Don Quixote. It's going to change the world. It's an encrypted code. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't think we need that right now. Like, go ahead, bro. Like, I don't say that. I'm like, thank God you did that. And we need stuff like that. But we need to get some people on our side of the field first. Like, we need some gateway drugs. Right now, we're telling everyone to come shoot heroin, and we need to start with some marijuana. We need to say, please, take a hit off the joint. It's fine, man. It won't cause cancer. It's not like smoke is bad for the lungs. It's fine. And those type of books will get the momentum in our favor. And so people tell me, I get questions sometimes, and people say, well, my plan is to write entertaining novels like mystery novels and romance and smut novels. And then once I make money and make a name for myself, then I'm going to write my literary novel. And that's first and foremost a terrible idea. That's like me turning this YouTube channel and all of you guys right now into like cooking subscribers. You would all leave. Maybe 1% of you guys would come to my cooking channel, but it wouldn't really work out very well. And if you did come, it would just be for like, because you like me. And so the actual strategy that's related to that is, instead of maybe writing, and you can't necessarily control this, but instead of killing yourself and writing this behemoth remix of War and Peace, you could write something fun. You could liberate yourself. You could liberate yourself from tragedy and do a serial comedy with philosophical elements embedded within the story, and focus on rhythm and pace and narrative elements, and be more transformative than writing some epic pound for pound with how many people are actually going to enjoy it, and then set yourself up for something harder. And so where I would look to for that, first and foremost, is two Tom Robbins books, Still Life with Woodpecker and Jitterbug Perfume. What also makes Tom Robbins really funny, and this is kind of an anecdote, is that he is politically incorrect. He's not scared. Even though he may have some progressive ideas, he was writing in an era where, you could say whatever you wanted to, and that the jokes are just endless. And funny enough, I knew an individual who I used to teach with. And sometimes as a teacher, they don't have enough substitutes, so you have to go substitute teach another teacher's class. And so I went over there to this person's classroom, and I saw that they had Tom Robbins on their shelf, like two or three different books. And I never, this school I was working at had like 150 teachers. So you don't get a chance to talk to people, especially if they're not in your department or like kind of in your clique. And so eventually this individual underwent, one could say, a physical and psychological transformation into something else. And it just so happened that one day I had the opportunity to speak to this person because I was stuck in some meeting with them. And I said, hey, what do you think of Tom Robbins? Do you like Tom Robbins? And they're like, yeah, I read him, but you shouldn't read him. And they were like, telling me that he was a bad guy and politically incorrect and says a bunch of things they don't agree with anymore. And they should get rid of their books. And so that is a walking advertisement for why you should read Tom Robbins. And so, as a bit of a eulogy, Tom Robbins really did change my life. He really did show me that you can have fun and be transformative all at the same time. That there is something much different than entertainment versus Gravity's Rainbow type, epic novel. And, that's what I really want to push to you guys. I have down below a Tom Robbins review I did when I had 30 subscribers on this channel. More wholesome, right conscious content. If you guys want to get into this further, look at me here. I got the mandala. Look, the window is open in the background. This was back when the channel was called Conscious Writers Tribe. I don't think you guys know this. I think this channel has had 3 different names. It started off as The Lit Underground, then Conscious Writers Tribe. And I was like, dude, that's a little bit weird. And now, Right Conscious. And so anyway, this is a 40-minute video, and I do a huge deep dive into this. So I recommend you go pick up Still Life with Woodpecker. If you're not going to buy it, go to your favorite shadow library or your local library. Read it. If you're a part of my Substack, I actually have 2 different video book club calls archived. The Right Conscious Book Club is the most active book club on the internet. We read anywhere from 5 to 10 books a month. In 2024, we were doing 20 books at once. We may hit that again during the summer when I have some time off. I also have courses over there, literature courses, writing courses. I have a podcast, a ton of other content. If you guys want to support this channel and help me out and help me achieve my dream of creating a literary renaissance and helping support others, then I would very much appreciate your subscription. If not, I have 10, 20, 30 hours. I don't even know hours of free content over there that you can watch. And the literary renaissance is happening on Substack. So if you aren't already over there, you should go over there. And thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for the support. Rest in peace to Tom Robbins. Shout out to the Pacific Northwest where he was from. Many great artists are from there. And I will see you guys very soon in the next video.